Megan is an undergraduate student and becomes fascinated with the idea of doing research. She begins working for a gifted, brilliant, thin, and very handsome Dr. Rosenmeyer. For her research project, Dr. Rosenmeyer requires Megan to spend 3 weeks at a pharmaceutical company that is producing a contraceptive vaccine for dogs, thus eliminating the need for surgical castration. On her first day, Megan is told by many people that the company does no research that harms animals in any way. All the company's advertisements highlight that their vaccines are produced without harming animals, and even their letterhead states that they are committed to the design and testing of vaccines that only enhance the lives of dogs. However, as she begins working in the laboratory, it becomes obvious to her that while the company does no research that harms animals directly, they are clearly using lab procedures and a contraceptive vaccine applicator that depend on research done other places when studies were done on rats, rabbits, cats, and dogs that required them to suffer serious infections and ultimately put to death. She brings this fact up to the head researcher overseeing the contraceptive vaccine production and asks if they knew this. The head researcher says yes. We are aware of the previous research and that we are really the only reason they were comfortable in choosing that particular applicator in the first place.
That evening, Megan goes home to relax and watch TV with her roommate.
Good popcorn.
Oh, oh my goodness! No, a better one. Oh.
Again, they see one of the vaccine company's commercials in which they state several times that no animals are ever harmed in the production of their vaccines.
See, Jenna, this is what I'm talking about. I don't know what to do about this. It's like, what do I do?
And so Megan begins to think, is there a dilemma?
First of all, we did evaluate the facts of the case. You decided if there was a dilemma or not. Yes, there was. Is this against the law?
Well, technically it's not against the law because they are telling the truth and it's not quite false advertisement. It's just the fact that technically what they're saying on their letterhead is legal. However, they're not using animal products, but they're using companies that use animals in testing, often to the point of euthanization because they're so harmful.
So, technically through that one company, it's not illegal. So then we would develop possible alternatives, right?
So,
exactly.
Okay. So one of the alternatives would be to change the letterhead of the company. There's no need to purposely advertise like, we use no animals. You could use a different tagline. The letterhead should just be logo, company's name, and maybe address, right?
Exactly. And then, I mean, we could also find different ways to advertise as opposed to just using the slogan that we don't test on animals because, as you were telling me earlier, you know, if the product's good enough, then there should be other ways to advertise for it.
Yeah, it's like they're kind of not necessarily intending to deceive the consumer, but they're hiding it.
Yes, exactly.
Also, another alternative would be to develop like a new applicator for the vaccine. I mean, it may take a while and it may cost a little bit more money, but the fact is, after all that's said and done, no animals will be harmed.
Yeah, and then if the consumer had, let's say, found out about the previous applicator, they'd much rather prefer this alternative knowing that no animals were harmed.
Okay.
It would be a better marketing strategy as
well.
Well.
So then we moved on to evaluate the consequences. The only consequence I would see was that it may take more time to develop a new applicator, but it's worth it.
Exactly. So if we did choose to go with the applicator route, then it would take more time, and it wouldn't use as many animals, but it would take more time. So a lot of people are going to be against that. Right. However, if you look at the long run, I think that would be better.
That's the most positive and ethical alternative.
Yes.
Okay. So deciding on a plan of action.
We'd go to a developer or develop it ourselves. Pull together some researchers and
develop a new product.
Yep.
Okay. And reevaluating the consequences?
It would take longer and we'd start from scratch.
Yeah. So if that's the only consequences of that, I think that's definitely the route we should take.
Cool. So I guess we're proceeding with the new plan then, huh?
I would say so.
Okay.
So as a group, we decided that really we're against what's happening in this case.
We feel this because it is important to adhere the ethical norms in order to promote the aims of research and gain the public's support. Plus, it is important to moral and social values. In this particular case, broad ethical rules such as honesty, openness, and other resources, social responsibility, and animal care.